Hi everyone. This is the second video of Iyengar Yoga from Bend Over Backwards. And I just want to point out the props that will be helpful for you today. The blanket. And for some of us, the blanket might be folded just this thick if you have the gift of freedom in the hips. If, however, you don't, you're at the right place because today's sequence is about the hips. And you might find that you need to fold your blanket yet again, so you have this kind of thickness. In addition to that, this is the tie from my bathrobe. If you have a yoga belt, by all means use it. But if you don't, you might have a scarf, or you might have a belt, or you might tie two belts together, or your robe might have a generous belt like this one. In addition to that, I have my handy dandy kitchen chair. And I have some wooden bricks or blocks or cork blocks or something that is a reasonable facsimile from your house, maybe a little shoebox. I don't know. You could go on a treasure hunt in your house and find the appropriate facsimiles of what you see here. So our very first pose is a seated posture. It's called Dandasana. And again, you'll fold your blanket and place it against a wall. And once you do that, sit toward the front edge of your blanket and stretch your legs forward. When you stretch the legs forward, you can separate the legs just a little, like this. And then use the hands to clasp the flesh of the buttock and draw it back towards the wall, like this, tugging the buttock flesh back so that I feel both sides of the sacrum touching the wall. Then the arms are necessary to press down into the fingertips to lift the spine and to draw the sacrum into the body and up and lift the sides of the rib cage and the breastbone. You can see that these pillars of the chest give support to lift the rib cage. From here, in your Dandasana, you might notice how the inner heels reach back towards you. To help with that, to help with lengthening the inner leg and stretching the inner heels away, try this. Take a brick or a facsimile, like a hardcover book, and place it between the inner heels, like that. Clasping the brick with just the heels, not the ankle bones. I'm pushing my brick away from me, so the ankle bones are not touching the brick, just the inner heels. And I'm clenching with the inner heels, I'm clenching the brick and just letting the toes extend away. Here you see, again, the arms coming into action to lift the spine, to lift the trunk. This is Dandasana. And at the same time as the inner heels are stretching the brick away from us, we're engaging these muscles, the quadriceps muscles, the thigh muscles. And once they're engaged, the muscles of the back thighs, the hamstrings, the calf muscles, the backs of the calves stretch away as well. So this apparently simple little pose is actually the foundational pose for all of the seated postures. Sit, grip the brick, stretch it away from you with the inner heels, lift the spine, spread the chest, and stay. Stay for a minute. If you have a timer, perhaps in your kitchen, or maybe you have a watch that times for you or some other device, use a timer so that you know how long you're staying in the postures. The next posture, and you can stop this video anytime if you wish to stay a little longer in Dandasana, but if you're ready to move on, the next posture, take both hands behind the knee joint and spread the knee joint. My hands are doing this behind the joint. I'm spreading the knee joint and stepping the heel as close as it can come to that inner thigh. Meanwhile, the left leg is active. I'm still stretching that inner heel away against the brick. This enables the thigh to turn in to get me onto the center of the heel. Clasp the shin, pull with the arms, lift the chest. Now we're working on the crease at the top of this bent knee leg, the crease, the groins, the hip flexors, The groove at the top of the leg, you've heard all of those phrases. It refers to that space at the top of the leg. Here on the straight leg, this space. On the folded leg, you can't see that space, but I'm softening there and broadening there. Then release this bent knee leg, clasp the inner heel to the inner brick, stretch this leg away, activate the thigh muscles, firming, lengthening the back of the thigh. Take your hands behind the left knee, spread the back of the knee, and step the foot towards you. Clasp the shin, lift the chest, lift the spine, and relax the groins. Relax the hip flexors. This crease at the top of the leg on this bent knee is softening and dropping into the body. Extend the left leg. And again, coming back to Dandasana, grip with the inner heels, stretch the inner heels away along the brick, lengthen the toes away, spread the bottom of each foot from the big toe mound to the little toe mound, down into the fingertips, shoulder blades slide down, chest lifts, Dandasana. Now, reach to the inner knees and bending the inner knees. Let the inner knees rest out to the side and join the bottoms of the feet together like this. Take your belt or your robe belt and slide it under the little finger side of the feet. Wrap the belt around your hands and pull, pull, pull to release the thighs toward the floor, pull to lift the sides in front of the chest. If it should happen that your hips are stiff today and your knees are above your waist, please take more support to sit. One blanket is not enough. Get a second blanket or place something under your blanket, some firm support so that the legs can release, the hips can release. I'm showing now clasping the belt and releasing the thighs from the inner thigh to the inner knee. This length, which you worked on with the brick a moment ago, this length is required. And this opening between the inner thigh and the inner calf, the sense that the calf is rolling away, the thigh is rolling away on both legs. Going this way, going that way, makes more space, allows the thighs to release, pulling and lifting. Then, from this space, we could take our wooden brick and slide our wooden brick or facsimile, like a book, and place it between the inner feet. Now the feet are pressing against the brick, and the stretch, and you probably noticed this straight away, the stretch is moving now. It's coming down the inner thigh to the inner leg, into the area of the lesser trochanter. I still have my belt. I'm pulling on the belt. I'm pressing the brick, and I'm sitting vertically. The wall is very helpful. It's helping me to slide the shoulder blades down the wall, to roll the shoulder blades wide, and to lift the chest. This posture is called Baddha Konasana. Baddha means bound, and it's bound by the belt and by the feet joining. Kona is angle. It's bound angle pose. We're going to work on it a little bit more. In a moment, or as long as you like. Remember, you can stop this video anytime. You can pause and hold the posture as long as you wish. But I'm going to move on to show you what comes next. In an instant, you'll slip the brick away from you, bring the feet together, and watch what happens to the thighs. See how they drop down? See how they release even more in the direction of the floor, lengthening the inner thighs away? Here's one more aspect of Baddha Konasana that you might enjoy. Both hands. Wrap the thumb under the big toe mound, this fleshy mound at the base of the big toe mound. Wrap the thumb there and roll the big toe mound away from the little toe mound. Spread the inner foot from inside to outside. including the heels. Let the inner heel spread away. Let the whole, the feet open, they open like pages of a book. And though it's very interesting to see the bottom of the feet, especially interesting to compare how one foot opens a little more than the other. And what's that about? Can you tell? Is there a different feeling on the inner leg, on the side that opens well and the side that doesn't? Feel for yourself what's going on. Here the feet are pressing apart, spreading apart. And then join the feet. And one last experience for today, a Baddha Konasana. Pull with the arms, lift the chest, and release the thighs even more toward the floor. Now we're going to take the actions in this posture to other postures. To come out of this posture, support the knees, gather the knees together, and extend the legs. You can see that in addition to one wooden brick, I have 2 cork blocks. I pointed out the chair and the belt earlier. In this posture, Upavishta Konasana. Did you hear Kona in that? Kona, we know angle. Upavishta, wide angle. How wide? Well, how wide can you go? I'm sitting now toward the front of the blanket and I'm just easing myself almost off the blanket. And as soon as I move that way, this stretch intensifies. In other words, the inner leg lengthens even more. I remembered the inner heels and that work on the brick and stretch the inner heels away like that. Big toe mound leads the way. Then the hands come behind, and you won't see this, but my fingers are turned back toward the wall. My elbows are bent, and I'm pressing down with the fingertips and lifting the chest, but also lifting the pubic plate. This area of the pelvis lifts up. The groins have been softened in our previous poses. They're releasing from inner groin to outer groin. Inner legs are going long and away from us. Pubic plate up, so the pelvis is not tilting forward. Sit, Upavishta Konasana. Now, look at the inner knees. Are the inner knees pressing down to the floor as much as the outer knees, or more? If, for example, if the inner knee is pressing down too much, see what the foot does? See how the leg rolls in? The other problem that could be happening is the outer knee might be pressing down more than the inner knee. See what the foot does? The whole leg drops out. So what we want to get here is inner knee and outer knees pressing down evenly, brings us to the center of the heels, and the inner thighs are reaching away. Upavishta Konasana, arms behind, chest up, pubic bone up, lift up. Now, if you think you could do a little more, then ease your pelvis, your sits bones, your buttocks forward. Ease forward. Oh, the legs went wider. You got a little bit more. You're building. You're going further into the posture. Still the inner knees and outer knees pressed down. Still the pubic plate has to lift. Still the chest has to lift and spread. And now watch. We're going to take this pose another step. We're gathering behind the right knee, drawing the right heel in close to its own buttock and turning the foot out at about 45 degrees. Still, we have to control this leg. Part of the mind is in this leg. The right elbow wedges inside that right knee. The left hand is supporting the lift of the trunk, and we're turning away from the bent knee. Twisting now, not only the spine and the rib cage, but we're twisting the organs inside the pelvis, the abdomen, the rib cage. We're squeezing and soaking. Turn the face forward, release the right leg away, Upavishta Konasana. Inner knee, outer knee down, inner heel reaching away. Reach behind the left knee, draw it in, pull the heel toward the base of its own buttock. There it is. Wedge the elbow inside. Right hand has a job to do. Got to control this leg. Don't forget. Don't let it become unconscious. Lift the trunk. You know the principles of twisting. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, turn. Work with your breath rhythm. Each time I breathe in, I reach up through the spine. Each time I breathe out, I turn. Until the turning is complete, I pause, look toward the right shoulder, turn the head back, release the binding of the arm, and stretch out one more time to Upavishta Konasana. Now, take the thumbs into the crease at the top of the legs. Press down. Control the legs, heels away, and lift the chest and up, up and forward. I'm coming up and forward toward you. As I lift the chest, back of the head in line with the spine, chest reaching forward. The sit bones are pressing down. And from the top of the buttock, we're reaching down to the sit bones. Now, you might find that you have a combination of props as you come forward that will allow you to rest first the chin, like this. Very good for upper back, back neck, and shoulder issues. Rest the chin. You can see this causes the chin to reach forward. The back neck is compressed for the moment. Sit bones are pressing down, heels are pressing down, inner thighs are lengthening. Then from chin resting, coming up with an inhalation, slide the brick just a little further away from you. Get the thumbs into the outer groins, press down, and now turn the face toward the floor and rest your brow. This is a more calming action for the head, for the brain, for the nervous system. You can stay up to 3 minutes in this position. Then inhale, lift the trunk, remove the bricks, and to release the stretch in the legs, reach inside the knees and lift them vertically and come right back to Dandasana. Now join the feet, join the legs, and join the inner edges of the big toes and let the toes lengthen away. The inner heels might join. The inner ankles might join. The inner heels might be lengthening away as they were when the brick was there. Chest is up, spine is coming up into the body, sacrum into the body, top of the buttock down. I want to point out one feature here, the bottom of the breastbone and the navel. You see that they're right in the center of the body. The bottom of the breastbone has to point directly downward, like that. So in coming forward in Dandasana, the tendency might be to press the chest forward so that the bottom of the breastbone is doing this. But we want the bottom of the breastbone to point toward the navel. I'm taking 2 bricks and placing the palms on the bricks, pressing down in the palms. The bottom of the breastbone goes to the navel, the collarbones go wide, and I'm reaching the bricks away from me. Push down in the bricks, stretch the heels away, especially the inner heels. Let the toes lengthen, spine in, chest moving forward, like that. Then set the bricks to the side and prepare for a vinyasa that's going to come with the chair. The next portion of our sequence involves the chair. It's very important that you press the chair against the wall so that you know it's absolutely secure. A chair, or maybe a bench of this size, something you want to know that your props are stable so you can trust your props. Here's what we're going to do. We'll stand and place our palms at the edges of the chair. And then we'll step back and bending the knees deeply. We'll push ourselves away from the chair, bring the chest toward the thighs, and then roll the inner heels back and down. This is chair version of downward dog. I'm pressing the thumb mound and index finger mound into the chair seat, pressing the front thighs back from the chair, gathering the abdomen into the body, and gathering and spreading the skin of the chest. From here, the next posture, I'll lift my head, lift my heels, and bring the shoulders directly over the wrists. Watch the feet. I turn the foot, and press the chair away. Lift the chest away from the chair, lift the belly away from the chair, back of the head in line with the spine. Watch the feet. We roll back over the feet and come back to downward facing dog. The next pose in this sequence, I step forward a little, feet are still separated, bending the elbows, draw the chest between the arms and up, firm the elbows, look up, firm the legs, lift the thighs away from the floor, upward facing dog. And leading with the tailbone back to downward facing dog. Let's put those three together in one smooth sequence called a vinyasa. Here's down dog. You can hold for up to a minute in down dog, firming the front thighs, pressing the chest away from the floor into the body. Then lift your head, lift your heels, look forward, bring the shoulders over the wrists, plank pose. The thighs lift, the heels stretch back, turning the feet if you can. Then roll back over the feet, come back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Third pose, lift the head, lift the heels, bend the elbows, step in a little, pull the chest through the arms, firm the arms, look up. Upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Back to downward facing dog. Okay. For the last portion of this sequence, you might want a little eye covering. These are the knitted washcloths that Dory Miller creates in her studio to raise funds for the Ugandan children. You can choose any soft cloth, or maybe you have a little eye rest that you have especially for yoga. We're going to take the relaxation pose called Shavasana, and then we're going to move into a short sequence of breath awareness, or pranayama. You'll need your blanket, and you likely won't need it folded more thickly than that. So I'm showing it at this depth. However, if you find when you're reclining on the blanket that your head is tilting back such that your chin is jutting up, then it's best to fold the blanket again. Here's how you come into the posture. Sit in the center of your mat and bend your knees. Have your little eye covering close to hand. Lift your pelvis and just slide your sits bones toward your heels and rest back on your elbows. Use your hands to push the top of the buttock away from you and stretch the sacrum, the lumbar spine, the thoracic vertebra along the floor, and pull the blanket under your neck and under your skull. Tilt the skull. I'm using my thumbs at the base of the skull to tilt the skull. Stretch the legs away. Stretch the legs vigorously away, and then let the legs drop out to the side, releasing the thighs. Take the glasses off. Place them beside you where they'll be safe. Cover the eyes with the eye covering of your choice, and stretch the arms away from the shoulder blades to the palms, and then relax the elbows into the floor. Turn the palms up and let the body melt into the floor. In Shavasana, we rest the outer body. The legs relax, the arms
loosen and soften. The abdomen relaxes into the body, and the inner body relaxes toward the floor. We could think of the back body as a cushion for the front body, such that the back body softens and spreads. The shoulder blades relaxing away from the spine, wide and flat. The rib cage broadening away from the spine in the back, away from the breastbone in the front. The eyes relax away from the eye covering. The forehead relaxes broad and smooth. The vocal organs relax, the throat, the inner mouth, the lips. The openings to the nostrils relax, becoming more sensitive to breath. Your Shavasana could last 10 minutes. You might want to put the video on pause and enjoy a soft, deep, nourishing Shavasana. Following Shavasana, without disturbing yourself, bend the elbows and let the hands rest on the lowest most ribs. You can see that the fingers are pointing towards each other. The elbows are resting on the floor. The palms are resting onto the floating ribs. The abdomen remains quiet, passive. And here we're feeling the movement of the breath coming into the body. First, we notice how the breath touches the openings to the nostrils. And then it touches the back of the throat. Each inhalation is signaled with the approach of the breath. And as the breath comes in, notice how the hands are guided away from each other. And towards each other on the exhalation. As you rest the hands on the low ribs and observe the movement of the floating ribs with the inhalation and exhalation, compare the movement on the right side with the movement on the left side. Is one side a little more supple? Does it seem to move a little further away from the breastbone and the spine than the other? If that's the case, just encourage the side that's not moving quite so well to see if it can catch up. Just with a little bit of attention, the body responds, and we can get both sides of the rib cage softly, gently extending away from the center lines of the body, the spine in the back and the breastbone in the front. The idea is not to take more air than you might normally when you breathe in, but rather to guide that normal everyday inhalation into the lowest most ribs, as you see here. Inhaling, we expand. Exhaling, we release. If you're a practitioner of pranayama, if you know and practice yoga of breath, pranayama, then you might find that you're taking a slightly longer than normal breath. That's okay, because you're a practitioner. This extending of the inhalation-exhalation is called Ujjayi breathing. It means that we've been trained to extend the incoming breath, at first just a little bit longer than a normal everyday breath. Now the breath is coming in and leaving just a little bit longer. You can experiment to see what's possible for you to extend the inhalation, extend the exhalation just a little. Maybe it's just a split second longer than normal everyday breathing. But be aware that if tension shows up, if you feel that your eyes are becoming a little strained, or your forehead is becoming strained, or the skin over the temples is becoming strained, or the tongue glides up to the roof of the mouth, or the jaws tighten, the throat tightens, any of those indications are that you've gone just a little bit too fast into extending the inhales, exhales. So just back up a little so that there's no strain. It's just you, your inner self, observing the breath. This ends our second taping of Iyengar Yoga from Bend Over Backwards Yoga. To come out of this posture, out of pranayama, you'll bend the knees one by one. You'll release the arms to the side and shift your body just a little to the left of your mat. Take the right hand under the skull, roll to the side, and from that side lying position, come up to a seated posture. The seated posture of your choice. Gather the hands together, bring them straight into the heart. I bow to you, yogis. Namaste.